it's time for our second challenge from Mihal. So thank you for creating this, for coming up with this idea. We're building on what we did last week, but it's a little bit more complicated this time. So the first thing that we do is we create this wildcard union in our input step. So let me just show you how that looks. So I'll change it back to being a single table. It's just connecting to the month April table at that point. But I'd rather do a union multiple tables so that I can get all of these monthly tables to stack on top of one another. And in order to do that, I need to add in a quick worksheet filter because I don't want the budgets to be included in this wildcard union. I just want anything that starts with the word month. So I add in that worksheet filter and I want it to match the pattern of month and then a star. So anything can follow the word month, whether it's April, August, everything's fine, but that's what I want to happen so that when I click now, this included tables, budget disappears, and it's just worksheets that start with the word month, which is great. Now only 12 tables are being included. I can hit apply, and we can see all of these tables are highlighted here. We also get a couple new fields to indicate that wildcard union has happened, the table names and the file paths. So let's see what we've got to work with. So right away we can kind of see that we've got 12 recommendations. It's telling us to remove those 12 fields that just have the month name associated with them, so April 23, and then if I scroll over here I've got all these other months, August, December, so on and so forth. So okay, this is one of those occasions where I do agree with Tableau Prep's recommendation to just get rid of an entire field because it's not actually giving us any information in any of those fields that we don't already get from our knowledge of the data. So we'll start off by just removing those fields, makes it a bit more manageable what we're working with. And I'm just seeing that transaction fees again. If you remember last week's challenge, we need a space between transaction and fees. So let's just edit that, put a space in there, and rename that field. In our next step, next up, we're going to just extract the month name from this table names field. So we're going to do a split on our table names. So I chose an automatic split since Prep's really good at looking at kind of what is repeated in every single row of data. Is that useful to us? Probably the word month isn't, and probably only the month name is, so it only gives us that one split field. And that's exactly what happens here. We get that field here, which we rename to be months, or month, sorry, and we remove the table names and the file paths fields. Next up, we've got all of these different areas or different categories of actual spending. We want those to be pivoted into a single field. So we add in a pivot step, we do a columns to rows pivot, and we drag in all of these fields apart from the month, so that now we have for each row of data, it represents a month and a category and what the spending for that category was. Okay, so at this point we want to work out which of our categories we don't need to worry about, which of them are below or on the budget that is set. So we're going to create a little branch here where we group by a category and we sum up the actual spend for that year, so that we have that to join on to the budget. And our budget table looks a little bit like this. So we want to just split out any of the notes from our budget. So again, just use that automatic split again so that it gives us the numbers and the notes in separate fields. So that's what happens here. We use that split, we get those two fields, but actually we don't really want the notes at all either. So we'll remove that field and just keep the budget split -1, and we'll rename that just to be budget again. And that's a numeric field that we can work with so we can compare it to the actual spends. So we do that join where we've got category in our aggregate step, we've got 2023 as a field name in the other step. So those are the two that join together. We can see we've got those 9 rows that we're hoping for. And now we're just checking where is the budget greater than or equal to the actual spend, because we care about only those categories which have gone over their budget, not necessarily those that are below it. So just looking at this, I'm worried that I've done the wrong filter myself. Yes, so, okay, we're only interested in keeping, the categories where the actual spend has gone above the budget. So those are the ones we're looking to keep. It's because I was confusing myself by saying we need to filter out certain things, but obviously we want to keep the ones for which it is true that they have spent more than their budget. And in all these cases, that is true. And we're removing the annual actual spend again from that table and breaking down our budget now into a monthly budget, which we're told we can just do by dividing by 12 and rounding to the nearest whole number. So we've got these 4 areas which are our problem areas, but which one's the worst is why we're continuing this analysis basically. So we come back down to our actual spend down here, and part of this is that we want to just round the actual spend to the nearest whole number, so we just wrap that in a round function, and then we're ready to join again on category. So you can see that we exclude some rows now because we're not caring about the categories who are below budget when considering it at a year level. So now let's work out the difference for the monthly level, so we're just doing the actual spending minus the budget there, so we can see how over budget each category may be for each month. Some are under budget, I should mention. There are some positives in that story. But now we're trying to just say, so for each month, which is the highest overspending category, so we're going to do a rank based on this difference. So let's go to this field. So we go to the difference, we go to create a calculator field, we go to rank, and then this is how we configure that visual editor. We make sure that it is in a descending order, so basically the higher the difference, the more over budget they are, and we're grouping by the month, so we have this ranking field. And we're just filtering this now so that we only keep the top ranked category in each month, and remove that rank after that. And now we can see the worst offending category for each month. So yes, it does look like Mr. Fill Down was right, that inventory is a big problem for the majority of the months of the year. So I hope you enjoyed that challenge. Thanks again to Mihal for creating it, and thank you for watching.